All right, hello everybody. I am going to cover your first essential graph called production possibilities curve. No, I'm not. All right, hello everybody. We're going to go over the first essential graph called the production possibilities curve. So I'm going to try to cover, whenever I do these, the main types of questions they're going to ask. So today I'm going to go over recession, full employment, growth, and then increasing versus constant opportunity cost with our PPC. But first, let's say that you are asked to draw one. How do you do it? Well, as long as it's normal, they don't say that we're drawing a constant opportunity cost, which we'll show you here in a second what that actually looks like. But as long as it's a normal PPC, you're going to assume that you're producing just two goods. Now, they might tell you you're producing like robots and pizza, but most likely they're not going to tell you that. And so you'll just have to remember that we're producing consumer goods and capital goods. I'm going to abbreviate them here because writing with a mouse is hard. So we have consumer goods, we have capital goods, and we're good to go. These are interchangeable. You can put them on either axis, so don't stress too much about that. So now I'm drawing my PPC. I'm going to show it as a concave curve, like so. The reason I show a concave curve is because of the law of increasing opportunity cost. The more I specialize in the production of capital goods, for example, the more I produce more and more of those, the more consumer goods I have to give up. And the reason for this is because our resources are not interchangeable. The resources I use to produce capital goods are very different than the resources I use to produce consumer goods. So when I'm maximizing all of my resources and producing almost exclusively capital goods, I have to take a lot more consumer goods to do that. So opportunity cost rises. Okay, now they might say, hey, show the economy as point A in a recession. So a recession is always going to be a point inside of the curve. So I'm going to put point A right here. The reason it's inside of the curve is because the outside of the curve, this actual concave shape here, represents our possibilities, right? Production possibilities or our capacity to produce. So a point on the curve means that I'm producing at full employment. All of my resources are being effectively used for production. But a recession by definition means that I have unemployed resources. I could be producing more, but I'm not because of market failures. All right, so that's point A right there inside of the curve. Now they might ask you to show production where we are efficient or where we're fully employed. Both of those would be this point B right here on the curve. It can be a point anywhere on the curve to show full employment. And this shows that every single one of my resources are being effectively used, and we are at triple intersection. AD, AS, and LRAS are all where we want them to be. Okay, so that's point B. Now let's jump into growth. There are three things that can cause economic growth. The first thing that can cause economic growth, well, I don't know what I just did there. Ignore that. The first thing that can cause economic growth is an increase in technology. We can also have an increase in productivity, which we show as a more capital goods, for example, or increase in productivity can be an investment in human capital, meaning people are educated, and so they have more productivity capacity, right? And then the third thing is an increase in the quality or quantity of resources. So if I have more land, for example, or if I recover my land, so land that used to be a nuclear wasteland is now able to be used for agriculture, for example. So when I have economic growth, how do I show it? I show it by outward movement of this curve, right? My production possibilities curve gets greater. We show it like that. Outward growth. It is possible for the economy to shrink. That's when there's a decrease in resources or productivity, and that will be shown as a shift inward of the actual curve. Okay, most likely you're going to be asked to do that if it shows up on an FRQ. But what about constant opportunity cost? Let me show that to you. Constant opportunity cost is going to have two goods that are similarly related. So I'm going to have soybeans here and corn. And what I mean by similar is they use the same resources. So for corn and soybean, I need a farmer, I need land, I need a tractor, right? But it's pretty similar for the two types of goods that are being produced. Now, I show that these are constant opportunity costs by having a straight curve, right? Instead of having that concave curve indicating increasing, I have a straight curve, which means to produce one additional corn, it's going to cost me one soy. And that is because my resources are interchangeable. So that's a constant opportunity cost. Keep an eye out for that. That's a tricky way that they can use to try and take away a point from you. So if they ask you to draw a PPC, try to figure out if it's increasing or normal, or if it's a constant opportunity cost because the goods are very similar. All right, that's all I have for the production possibility curve. I hope that was helpful.